And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas here, visiting with Ken Weber, who is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Goodwill Industries. And let me tell you of what all the area, Greater Cleveland and East Central Ohio. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning, Susie.
Okay, that's quite a mouthful. That means you have quite a bit that you're responsible for. Tell us a little bit about you and the area.
Well, I'm a Wisconsin transplant. Yes, go Packers.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, you had to start out that way.
I'm from Green Bay area. But so I started with my Goodwill career in Wisconsin and was fortunate enough to get the job here in Canton, Ohio, which very quickly, in a few years after arriving, turned into also adding Cuyahoga, Geauga, and the western half of Lake County to our territory.
That's an awful lot of lives who depend on you. What kind of a responsibility is that?
That's a territory of 10 counties that encompasses 2.2 million lives and goes from inner city Cleveland all the way to Appalachia and Brooke and Hancock County in West Virginia. And so it's amazing. People in need all look the same.
Yeah.
How you treat those needs and address those based on whether it's inner city Cleveland or Appalachia is a little different in the jobs that are available to help put people into.
Yeah. Let's get back to Goodwill itself before we start talking about the people and the services that you offer. You've got quite a rich history, don't you? Let's talk a little bit about that.
Goodwill started in 1902 with a Methodist minister, and he was in Boston. And when we think about immigrant populations, we always think of Ellis Island. Well, the Port of Boston was an extremely busy hub for immigrants arriving to this country. And there was no social services. There was no infrastructure to help people. Daycare was tying your child to a bedpost while you went looking for work.
Wow.
There were no soup kitchens back then or trade programs. Think about coming from a rural environment into the height of the Industrial Revolution. And so he established a factory in his church basement. And he went up to the rich side of Boston, started collecting stuff in burlap bags that was, people weren't wearing because either there was missing buttons or the furniture was broken. Brought it back to his church, got some of his parishioner tradesmen, cobblers and sewers and furniture makers, to help teach people trades that they could get a job in.
Wow. Put
the stuff out on the sidewalk, sold it, and gave those individuals their first American paycheck.
Wow.
Just a wonderful, wonderful man of vision. And so at some point in the 50s, after Goodwill spread rapidly through the United States and North America, it no longer was affiliated with the Methodist Church. But that's how it spread so quickly through the United States and Canada. So
what you describe is not all that different. You have people cleaning out their closets. You have people going through their furniture, maybe going to make a little bit of a change, a couch, this or that. And it has become a habit so ingrained in our culture that the first thing you do is call Goodwill. It doesn't look that different than what he began, does it?
It really doesn't. And if we think about all of the talk about social enterprise and triple bottom lines, people, planet, and prosperity, Goodwill's been doing it for over 100 years.
Incredible.
It really is. And last year, just as an example, our Goodwill took in over 20 million pounds of donations. And so we are really good at handling stuff and getting it back out and through reusing, repurposing, recycling as much as we possibly can. and literally turning it into dollars and cents that help pay for programs and services that truly help people in our community.
The green aspect, I think, is something that people, that's sort of like a bonus, isn't it? That's not what you had in mind to begin, but how much better that these things don't get in a landfill somewhere, but they're being used and enjoyed and continue to serve.
And it really does work that way. Obviously, some things eventually end up in the landfill, but we're doing our best to truly minimize that. And a new addition here in Canton is our outlet store, which is the last chance. So when something didn't sell in one of our stores, or wasn't able to be put out because maybe the chair was broken or something like that, or it was the dishware or it's way too funky, it's going to the outlet store now, where everything is sold by the pound.
Wow.
And so you can, even textile that didn't sell in one of our stores goes, and the really great thing to know is that the inventory on that sales floor, at a minimum, changes 3 times a day, sometimes 4.
Oh my goodness.
Literally every item that's been on the floor is replaced at least 3 times a day.
So thrifty shoppers, I mean, Goodwill, you can get a bargain at a Goodwill store. Go to a Goodwill outlet store and you are just paying for the pound, and the items, the inventory changes 3 or 4 times a day.
And people literally are camping out there for the whole day,
Yes.
different dealers and so on. But it's amazing because it's located right next to Pat Catan's in the same plaza.
Wow.
So it's a great resource for crafters.
Sure.
And it's in the old Circuit City, just down the street on Whipple.
And how long has this been open?
A few weeks
Wow.
now.
How's it
and
doing?
It's been very, very successful.
Can you shop online at Goodwill?
Absolutely. We also do e-commerce. Go to shopgoodwill.com and you can look up our specific Goodwill. And that is growing so quickly for us. We're one of the new ones entering that. There's been Goodwills doing it for quite a while, and we started it in just end of last year. And we are just doing a phenomenal job with e-commerce.
Pretty interesting to think, who is your clientele? Because it might surprise people, wouldn't it?
Well, it might. It's a great bargains can be found
Yes.
for people on a tight budget. But if you start to look at our new stores, they're really trying to appeal to all walks of life. The Goodwill store isn't just for people who are on hard times. Remember, the dollars and cents that are earned go back to help pay for programs and services, which are really the helping hand
Yeah, that's the
for
focus.
people who are on a tight budget, and helping them get out of that loop, really help them become the best versions of themselves.
So you're really like the original retread store or the second-hand store that are so popular. You're kind of the original one, aren't you?
Yeah, I think us and Salvation Army both have a very similar model. Both do great work in the community, and are one of those worthwhile charities that we're going to try and get some value out of all of your material donations.
Well, let's go back to the original purpose then, the programs, the real mission of Goodwill. Talk about the programs that you are involved with.
Well, our programs are all geared to try and improve the quality of life and employment opportunities for people. We run a host of programs. Many of them are vocational in nature, utilizing job developers who help people get a better job. But it also is working with the various county boards of DD and helping that population, which, right at this point in history, there's this large push for community-based employment. And so we also utilize our stores to serve that population and help get them ready for placement out in another retail market. So all of those things are in place, along with, at the same time, helping improve the quality of life for children. We have one of the best parenting programs around, and we work in cooperation with Family Court and Jobs and Family Services. And we do both home-based parenting and also classroom-based court-ordered parenting. And that program is just so intense and has done such a great job and continues to do so. So very varied.
Yes. Tell us a little more about that. What does that look like as far as the parenting program? What particularly happens? How does a person get involved in it?
As far as the classroom scenario goes, Family Court is going to order that if you'd like to get your children back, one of the conditions is that you have to go through our 12-week program. And so through that program, there's an evaluation that's done on a regular basis. And in the end, we're recommending to the court whether or not the family should be reunited. On the home-based parenting program, it's much more preventative, trying to keep the family together.
Yeah. And
again, some beautiful, touching stories come out of that. And, this morning, at our report to the community breakfast, there was one of our award winners is from that program.
Wow.
And it brings tears to your eyes to see the transformational activities that occur when Goodwill works with a family, and it's very rewarding.
We love stories around here. Tell us a little bit more about that one.
Oh, I'm going to save that. You'll have to go to our website, and I think by next week you'll be able to click on that and see that. But there are all kinds of stories on with regard to that. Another thing that we work with is a reentry population.
Oh, wow.
And
Didn't even think
so
of that,
often
yes.
we think of men reentering, but women also are coming back from prison. And there's such a wonderful story about that. And I don't know if we have time to get into that or not.
We have 2 minutes. You can at least get started. So
I'll
tell
get
us.
started.
Sure.
Well, there was a reentry court that Judge Brown started. And there was a lady who was not very happy about having to go through that process, and Judge Brown decided he was going to send her to Goodwill, which he often did with difficult cases. And I'm so happy to say that that difficult case warmed up very quickly and saw that the staff at Goodwill really did have her best interest at heart. And so we managed to get her a job.
Wow.
And she managed to get herself promoted.
Wow.
She managed to go back to school. And, going from a person who was incarcerated to someone who's paying taxes and buying a car, and on and on and on.
Quite a difference.
It is so fun to see the progress she's made. Just one story.
That's just one transformational moment of so many. We are going to need to take a break here shortly, but we're speaking with Ken Weber. He's president and CEO of Goodwill. But, you might be thinking of your local Goodwill. Oh, no, this is Goodwill Industries of Greater Cleveland and East Central Ohio, all based right here in our community, isn't it? We are the hub of all these folks that are being served. How many, Ken, do you know?
It varies from year to year. Over 15,000 individuals unduplicated this past year.
Wow. All right. Well, we've got more interesting to hear, and very interested to hear more about some of the people that you've served. You're listening to Our Community.